So several years ago, I came home to find my wife Ginger just all excited. Now I have heard, this is all secondhand because I've never actually been there myself, but I have heard that there are places out on the internet that can leave a person in the state. We had a computer. I was getting excited. So you can imagine that when she said, I want to take a horseback riding vacation to Vermont, I got depressed. We had horses. We rode 5 to 6 hours every weekend in the Appalachian Mountains. This horseback riding vacation sounded an awful lot like our weekends. If I'm going to spend all the time and all the money to go on vacation, I want to do something that's different. Wow, when I told that to Ginger. Actually, when I told that to Ginger, she took it well. You might even say she took it suspiciously well. Several days later, I came home, and she greeted me with, "Is Iceland different enough?" I'd never been to Iceland, but I'm assuming that it's way different than South Carolina. Plus, there is no way that I wanted to suggest that she find us someplace that was even more different. So, of course, I agreed, which may have just been her plan all along. Well, she had already done the research and come to find out the cost for staying in Iceland actually goes up in the summer. Well, we are frugal people. Folks that know us best might even call us cheap. And we will save a buck where we can, which is how we found ourselves on a horseback riding farm in Iceland in the spring. Now, this was a nice farm. It had motel-style rooms for the guests. It had a large dining area that probably set 50 or 60 people. And we had plenty of room because, well, we were the only ones there. So think about that. In the whole world, there were only 2 people who were so frugal that to save a few bucks, they would show up on this week in the spring, and it was us. But like I said, we had plenty of room. We got lots of attention. There were actually 4 young people there who took care of the horses and the guests. There was a young lady from France. There was a young lady from Germany, and there was a young lady from Sweden. There was a young man from, I know he told us where he was from, but to tell you the truth, I don't remember because I was not paying attention because I did not care. Because he was a guy. The only person working there who was actually from Iceland was the cook. And he did good enough. I mean, we had a lot of fish, which the only real way that I liked fish was chicken fried. That's probably just a southern thing because we will chicken fry anything. I mean, we chicken fry steak and Oreos and bananas, ice cream, and we will chicken fry fish. But apparently it's not an Icelandic thing because he never chicken fried any fish for us. She did every other way that you can imagine that. But it does not matter. We were not there for the cuisine. We were there for the little horses. Now these guys, they stand about this tall. And you look at him and you think, if he runs away with me, all I have to do is put my feet down. But that does not work. I'm just saying. The Icelandic people love these little horses. There's only one breed on the whole island. If another horse cannot come to Iceland, if one of these horses leaves, it can't come back. Horseback riding was the #1 sport in Iceland. So our vision was 5 or 6 hours every day we would explore the island from the backs of these little horses. Did I mention we are frugal people? Back home in South Carolina, the average high temperature for April was 74 degrees. Now that's about perfect. And that's what we left to go to 33 degrees and raining sideways. We still got to ride, but it was only an hour or 2 each day. We had to wear 20 extra pounds of clothes. And us and the little horses had to lean into the wind to keep from getting blown over. I kid you not, if the wind had suddenly stopped, and it didn't, the wind did not stop the whole time we were there. But if it had suddenly stopped, us and the little horses would have just fallen down and wallowed in the frozen muck. Okay, there was one day that we did not get to ride. On that day, the young lady from Germany, her name was Jenny. Anyway, so Jenny meets us in the dining hall and she explains to us that she just did not feel good about us riding that day. Jenny had no trouble at all with 33 degrees and raining sideways. So whatever weather system was coming in, I knew that if Jenny did not feel good about it, I was going to hate it. So her suggestion was that we enjoy Iceland's #2 sport. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking skiing or bobsledding or ice skating or something else that involves frozen water. No, Iceland's #2 sport, swimming. Now you're thinking gymnasium-sized room where the air is heated to 90 degrees and the water temperature is 105. Oh no, that would not be swimming in Iceland. When we got to the swimming complex, there were several pools outside, up on a hill where the rain, the sleet, and the snow could get to us unobstructed. But did you know that Iceland has a lot of geothermal? They have hot water that just pours out of the ground, and they use it to heat their buildings, they use it to heat their drinking water, and yes, they use it to heat their swimming pools. So once that we were up to our necks in this warm water, we were actually toasting. We had rain and sleet and snow beating down on our heads, but we were actually warm. We had icicles forming on our eyelashes, and we were comfortable physically. But I'm sitting there the whole time, and I'm thinking about the 30 feet between me and the bathhouse. And I'm thinking about my body parts that are going to freeze off and roll across the floor, and how much I'm going to miss them when they're gone. But with a run that still sort of embarrasses me to this day, we made it back to the bathhouse and eventually back to the farm. And even though you don't care nearly as much as I do, all body parts intact. Now, I've been talking for a long time, and I'm about the middle of this thing. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to label this part 1, then I'm going to put the last half, make it part 2. So if you want to be notified when part 2 comes out, I'm hoping I get a subscribe button someplace on this page that you can click. If I've already put out part 2, then hopefully I can get a part 2 button someplace on this page that you can click. But either way, I hope you had a good time, because I did. And maybe we'll get to talk in person someday. But until then, bye.